Caparra could be the Italian way to say deposit, but as you will discover in this video, there are many different types of deposit to buy a property in Italy. So in this video you will discover everything you need to know to buy a property in Italy and about the Caparra. The deposit for the Italian civil law is a sum of money or fungible things paid as mutual compensation for the breach of the contract or the withdrawal from the contract. To give you an idea of what is a fungible things, speaking about the money, if you give me 100 euros, I have to give you back 100 euros, not the extra paper and coins that you are giving me, okay? I just have to give you back the sum of 100 euros. So this what is fungible things. And non-fungible things is, let's say, the ring of your grandmother. If you give me the ring of your grandmother, you want back that special ring, not another ring with the same value. So the ring of your grandmother, it's not a fungible thing. Going back to the deposit, its function is to guarantee the parties in a contract. In Italy, we used to say that if the buyer don't buy after he gave a caparra, he lose the caparra. And in the contrary, if the seller don't sell after he receive a caparra, he has to give back to the buyer double that sum of money. So if a seller received 10,000 euros as a caparra, he has to give back 20,000 euros in the case he is not respecting the contract. But as you will see today, this is not always the case. Another aspect that we have to clarify is that the deposit or caparra, it's not a cost because it will be discounted from the final price that you will pay at the final deed. So let's take in consideration the example of a caparra of 50,000 euros and the whole purchase is 500,000 euros. So if you pay 50,000 euros of caparra, at the final deed you will just pay 450,000 euros because the caparra will be discounted. One of the most frequently asked questions is how much has to be the deposit? What's the right amount for a deposit? The important thing to understand is that there is no rule in Italy about what amount the deposit should have. It is completely an agreement between the parties, the seller and the buyer. Obviously, the higher is the deposit or caparra, and the higher is the strongness of the agreement that you are doing. That's because of the mechanism that we already see, that if you are not respecting the contract as a buyer, you will lose the caparra, and if you are not respecting the contract as a seller, you will be obliged to give back the caparra plus the same amount. But taking in consideration my experience, I can tell you that a fair amount of caparra could be 10% of the whole purchase. Still, you can put a higher caparra to be more persuasive with the seller, or you can put a lower caparra if you have some particular needs. Hypothetically, you can also make an offer without any caparra, so zero deposit. Even though you can do that, I'm not suggesting it because it's really easy with a preliminary contract with no caparra for the parties to withdraw the contract. So what's the penalty if you withdraw a contract with zero caparra? So immediately no penalty. Then of course the other part can sue you because you are not respecting a contract, but it's not immediate. So the caparra, which at this point we can call Caparra Confirmatoria, in English we can translate it with confirmatory deposit, has a meaning of an immediate compensation for the withdrawal or not respecting the contract. Another question is how can you pay the caparra to purchase a property in Italy? This often for foreign buyers is an headache because usually in Italy the way is with a check. Okay, so you prepare a check of the amount of the caparra and you leave it to the owner. The problem for foreign buyers is that they have bank account in foreign countries, and in Italy foreign checks are not really accepted, or at least they are difficult to be paid at the bank. What you can do in this case could be open a bank account in Italy and ask for a check to your bank, but this could take a long time. So the best option for foreign buyers is to pay the Caparra with a money transfer. That is doable, but I know that a lot of real estate agency and Italian owners don't want or think that they cannot do the deposit with the money transfer. But I can tell you that you can do that, and it's completely respecting the law. Now we have to understand what are the different types of deposit that you can pay for an home purchase in Italy. So the first one, we already speak about that, is the Caparra Confirmatoria. This special type of Caparra that is the most frequently used in Italy has the rules that we already explained. So if the buyer don't respect the contract, lose the Caparra. If the seller don't respect the contract, have to give back the Caparra to the buyer plus a penalty of the same amount of the Caparra. So he has to give back double the value of the initial Caparra. Another type of Caparra is the Caparra Penitenziale, which we can translate with penitential Caparra. The penitential deposit has the same value of the confirmatory deposit, but it's a lower grade of binding, because with the confirmatory deposit or Caparra Confirmatoria, you also have the right to sue the part that is withdrawing the contract and ask for compensation, even if you already receive the Caparra or the double Caparra. In the case instead of the penitential deposit or Caparra Penitenziale, you don't have this right. So if you are a buyer and withdraw the contract, you lose the Caparra and the seller cannot sue you for not respecting the contract. At the same time, if the seller withdraw the contract, he has to give back you double Caparra, but you cannot sue him or her. Then you have what we call acconto prezzo, which we can translate with down payment. The down payment is just a part of the price paid in advance. So it hasn't the characteristic of the Caparra that we already seen. So if you are buying a property and you give a down payment, the down payment has to be given back to you in case you are deciding to not buy the property, or if the seller decide to don't sell you the property. Is as just a part of the price. So if some part withdraw the contract or not respect the contract, the down payment has to be given back. At the end, you have the Deposito Fiduciario or trust deposit. This is used in the case you have a suspensive clause in your preliminary contract. For example, when you need a loan to buy a property. If you need a loan to buy a property, you are not sure until you have the confirmation from the bank that you will buy that property. So you cannot pay directly to the seller the Caparra or the deposit, because in that case you will be exposed to the risk that you are not getting the loan and you will lose the Caparra. In these special cases, we have in Italy the Deposito Fiduciario or trust deposit. In this case, the deposit remains in the hand of the real estate agency or in the hand of a notary until you get the confirmation of your loan. At the moment you have the confirmation of your loan, the real estate agency or the notary can give the money, so the check or the money transfer, to the seller. So if you are planning to buy a property in Italy, you have to consider that there are different types of deposit that you can use. We spoke about the Caparra Confirmatoria, which is the most used in Italy. Then you have Caparra Penitenziale, which work in the same way as the Caparra Confirmatoria, but you have no rights to sue the seller in the case he is not respecting the contract. Then you have the down payment, which is used mainly with the construction company, and it's just a part of the price paid in advance, so it doesn't work as a compensation in case of withdrawal of the contract. And then you have the trust deposit, or in Italian Deposito Fiduciario, which guarantee you that you are not giving the money to the seller before you realize some suspensive clause, especially a suspensive clause speaking about the loan. So I remember you that if you want to invest in Italian real estate or buy a property in Italy, we are here to help you. So you can contact me and my team. You find all the contact details in the description of this video. See you the next time. Bye.